So, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Council of African Professionals. It is a nonprofit registered federally, and our goal is to support the holistic family. Today, we're gathered again for the fourth night to talk about International Women's Day, and our theme is Unshakeable. But before we go into that, we're going to give honor to whom honor is due. We will start with the anthem. So, Technical, may I please ask you that you share the anthem, please? Thank you very much. And I will call on Oriofe Oluwademeji, a youth volunteer with CAP, to read the land acknowledgement in English. Please go ahead.
Thank you. The Council of African Professionals acknowledges that our office in Burlington is situated upon the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. We recognize that Burlington is covered by the Treaty 14, also known as the Head of the Lake Bridges. As an organization dedicated to excellence and advancements of African diaspora, we recognize the deep parallels between the displacement of indigenous peoples and the forced migration and systemic exclusion faced by Black communities. We honor the enduring presence of all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and we value their spiritual and cultural connections to this land. We also celebrate the long-standing history of Black Canadians, whose presence in Ontario dates back centuries. From the early settlers and the freedom seekers who found refuge in this region to the modern professionals of the African diaspora, Black Canadians have been integral to the economic and social fabric of Burlington and beyond. CAP commits to an ongoing work of reconciliation and equity. We strive to build a professional future that honors the land we occupy and supports the prosperity of both Indigenous and Black communities through solidarity, justice, and mutual respect.
Thank you so much. And so I welcome everyone again. This is Council of African Professionals. We are still doing our week-long event, International Women's Day, and our theme is Unshakeable, Women, Water, and Wellbeing in a Pressured World. I am your moderator, and my name is Adejisola Atiba. I'm the current president of CAP, and I am a retired banker with over 32 years of experience. I'm into consulting, board governance, strategic planning. I'm an author. And, as most women, I wear many hats. Our agenda is very simple. We've done the anthem, the land acknowledgement. We are going to talk a little bit more about CAP. We'll talk about upcoming events, and then we'll go to why we're here. We'll introduce the speaker, go into fireside chat, and of course, Q&A and closing remarks. So, why CAP, and what do we intend to gain? The purpose is to equip and support people of African heritage for sustainable growth, development, and prosperity in Canada. We want a situation where people can come in, they can meet people who can mentor them to allow them to land and thrive. We want to support professionals, entrepreneurs, youth, seniors, the holistic family to network, to mentor ourselves, to sponsor ourselves, to get to know each other. We've heard the phrase, your network is your net worth. And you will see some of the programs that we also do. So I already talked about the fact that we're here today because of International Women's Day, and our speaker today is none other than Miss Christine Eruokwu. We will spend time to introduce her, but let's talk about what we've done and what we're gonna do. So when we started International Women's Day series, on Sunday, we had Miss Valerie Nelson. She's a retired principal. And then on Monday, we had Ms. Bayode Simpson, who is a data governance specialist at one of Canada's top bank. And yesterday, we had Ms. Paige Afanu, Dr. Paige Afanu, a certified management consultant and development expert. And of course, we're going to have Ms. Christina Eruokwu. But tomorrow, as we continue the week-long event, we're going to have Ms. Abi Adekito. Ms. Abi Adekito is a founder of Abistar Consult and IRA Pathway Corps. And on Friday, we will have Ms. Oluwabumi Bosede, who is a dual qualified lawyer, licensed in Nigeria and Ontario. And finally, on Saturday, we will have Ms. Edosa Adams-Edode, a dedicated lawyer, community advocate, and mentor. So you see, we have amazing, amazing women lineup. And we know that it is tax season. So on Sunday, we're actually having an accountant joining us in the person of Ms. Funke Itayo to talk about how we can maximize our 2026 refund. And also, we do language school. Our language school is virtual. So this language schools is for 30 minutes every Saturday once we start for the next 4 months. The only exception is if it's public holiday, we will not meet. And we have languages like Igbo, French, Yoruba, and Mandarin. If you know of anyone that can teach us of any language, please let us know. It will be a pleasure to increase these languages because we do not want our local language to disappear. But you will say French is not a local language. Yes, it is not, but it is the second language of the land that we call home, Canada. And Mandarin, I tell everybody, that is the business language of the world. The more you know about it, the better to be able to do business with people in China. And almost every business owner does business with them. And of course, we have our Black History event, an annual essay competition. We're having it in 2 locations, one in St. John, New Brunswick. It is an in-person event. May 9th, 2026 is the day. We're still accepting essays. We have 3 categories. Visit our website to learn more, or you can email us to get to know a little bit more. But all the details are on the flyer and all the details are on the website. So we're still accepting essays till March 31st. And we're having it also in Ontario on June 20th. Again, same categories, just different locations. For the Ontario one, we will accept essays until April 20th. And before I move on, the one we're having in New Brunswick, we're actually partnering with 3 organizations, Pure Gold Foundation, United Colors of Fashion, and Youth Mentorship, Youth Leaders Mentorship Program. So all 3 organizations are supporting us out there. So for our Ontario program, I'm happy to say that our keynote speaker is Ms. Nosa Ero Brown. She's the Deputy Minister for Culture and Immigration. And of course, we have a guest speaker who is a youth doing amazing, amazing things. And is Olamilekon Oluwayomi. He's a founder of nonprofit and also an author. And also to come is our CAP mentoring. So if you're interested in being mentored, this is also a 3-month program. We can assign mentors to you. Please reach out to us through our email. We are able to keep our lights on because some people support us. Nonprofits, we all know it is nonprofit. We're not making money. And so we do want to do a shout out to all these businesses that supports us. And if you'd like to support us, please reach out. It will be a pleasure to get to know you and see how we can support each other. So we talk about tax season. If you've not done your tax, SDA Business Solutions can do your taxes for you. They support business consulting, business incorporation, bookkeeping, HR, payroll, tax preparation, whether it's personal or commercial. Pixel, are you looking for really, really fancy pictures, whether it is for personal, business, or those milestones? Pixel, they excel at what they do. Tomi Ogundipe, she is an insurance advisor. If you have any questions relating insurance, please give her a call. I always say that if you have a family, you need to have insurance. Unique Designs, they're into clothing. They have bed sheets, we have towels, lingeries, house coats. Unique Designs, that is their website. Feel free to reach out to them. This is a book written by me, Authenticity. If you want, just to see how good your life is, go to Amazon and get a copy for yourself. So Amazing Minds makes websites. They are able to support you based on any budget. Please reach out to them. I always say that what can we do without the power of prayers? We thank God for her daddy, Archbishop Prof. Osaze Williams, with the Akion Days International Church. They are a strong supporter of Council of African Professionals. Finally, this is a digital store where I support newcomers, women, and youth. You can visit it to see if it's going to add any value to you. Of course, we have supporters, people that have supported us in the past. We always want to do a shout out to them so that they can continue to support us. BPTN, RBC Royal Bank, Canada Race Relation Foundation. And we have so many organizations like the ones that we're partnering with in New Brunswick, that we partner with here, doing amazing things like we do. Alliance Creative Community Events headed by His Royal Highness King Nanayo Osam I. The African Caribbean Council of Alton, Grandmothers Voices. Grandmothers Voices is actually an indigenous organization. Seas Center is a Chinese organization. The Care Foundation, they support caregivers. Black Business Edmonton, United Colors of Fashion, New Brunswick, Account Ottawa, and Nairov. Now, the events that we talked about, the Black History event, that is one of our flagship events, but this is our main flagship event, the Platform Canada. So if you know anybody in your network who loves to speak, and not only loves to speak, but also love to impact and make change happen, give them our details and let them email us. We are looking for speakers from our communities to be speakers during the platform. The platform is a 2-day event in December 11th and 12th. December 11th is a virtual event all day from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And this is our 6th year that we're doing it. And also on the second day, which is the in-person, we will be recognizing amazing community leaders who continue to give of themselves selflessly. And I'm actually happy to say that our speaker today is a recipient of Power of Inclusion Leadership Award. The name changed from last year to the platform this year. So on that note, again, if you want to get to know us, this will be posted on the chart, our website, our email, and our newsletter. Our newsletter is very important because Before anything hits the other social media, you will see it first in our newsletter. Join us so that you do not miss out on all the wonderful activities that we have for the year. I will stop sharing now, and we are now why we're here, you know, to talk about Unshakable. And we have our speaker ready. And before I get her to start speaking, can you please say something, because I'm seeing somebody else on my...
Hello.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So I would like to introduce Miss Christine Eruokwu before we go on into our conversation tonight. So just give me a minute to bring up her bio. So Miss Christine Eruokwu is a nonprofit leader, entrepreneur, and community builder whose journey in Atlantic Canada began over a decade ago while pursuing an MBA at the University of New Brunswick. She is the founder of Kaima Designs, an African-inspired fashion brand that promotes cultural expression while supporting girls' education and women's empowerment in Africa. As co-founder and managing director of United Colors of Fashion, UCOF, Christine leads initiatives that empower immigrants and visible minorities communities through training, mentorship, and industry exposure. A leadership coach, mentor, and board member, our work has earned us several awards recognizing our impact and service, including the Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee Medal, recognition as one of Atlantic Canada's most inspiring immigrants, and co-winner of the Apply Board 2024 International Alumni of Impact Award and 2025 Power of Inclusion Community Leadership Award. Please join me to welcome Miss Christine Eruokwu. Now, you can welcome her. Thank you so much. Please use all those emojis. Use them. Doesn't cost anything. Just a tap. Let's welcome her. Let's give her a warm welcome. Welcome, Miss Christine Eruokwu. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Satiba. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for a very warm welcome. Thanks for all the amazing work you and your team at Council of African Professionals are doing in Ontario and Canada-wide. So it's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So before we go into the hot seat, is there anything else that we did not talk about that you would like everyone to know?
Well, I think you pretty much covered the bases, but maybe the other thing I may want to say is the way I describe myself is like, I mean, that question, who are you really? For me, I just basically describe myself as someone who is passionate about creating possibilities and helping other people lead purposeful lives, because I'm all about impact and purpose. So if it doesn't involve purpose, I'm not in the picture at all. And that's kind of like informs everything that I do, my work, the volunteer work, as well as the nonprofit, even the business that I do. It's all about purpose and impact, because the world will definitely be a better place with people who understand the value of making community a better place for everyone. As people always say, when you go to a place, you meet somewhere, make it better than you met it. And so that's always one of my philosophy and principle. And that's, again, fuels some of the activities that I do. So my journey as an immigrant has taken me across different sectors, including technology, education, and nonprofit, and of course, social enterprise. And each of these chapters kind of like reinforced one important lesson, and that is when people are given opportunity, mentorship, and then visibility, we thrive. And that's why I really like the theme of this year's International Women's Day activities or events, which is talking about give to gain. I think women traditionally, have been givers, like from giving, bringing forth children into the world, nurturing, growing, and all of that. But maybe this year's theme is just to actually make the obvious even more obvious, as when I looked at that theme, and I think that's what it is about. Because again, that theme just sort of is a reminder that progress often begins with generosity, because people move forward when they receive and they get better. And it brings me to this well-known quote. Sometimes some people say it's an African quote, but I think I was able to trace um, the originator of the quote to Brigham Young, and it says, "When you educate a man, you educate an individual, but when you educate a woman, you educate a generation." And so, when I describe myself and all that I do, I think education is at the foundation of what I do, and that's one thing I bring front and center every time I'm asked to introduce myself. So, thank you.
That is powerful. Thank you so much. Before I go, and I do want to acknowledge Ms. Bayode Simpson. I'm sure you're seeing her sending hearts and claps and everything. Ms. Bayode was one of our speakers, and she's been joining us consistently. Thank you so much for joining us. And you mentioned about, wanting people to try giving and all that. I always say that, I always ask the question, who is rising because of you? What? Right? Who will be grateful that it's because of you, because you're here, things are not, the same for them. It's so important. We can't just live for just me, my kids, and then we disappear. We really have to be adding value wherever we find ourselves. And I know you kind of touched on the global team, Give to Gain. Actually, Ms. Bayode Simpson did talk about Give to Gain. She said in two categories. One is giving to yourself, because as women, we don't give to ourselves. We give and give and give and give, right. Give to ourselves and give to the world, right? We give leadership, we give mentoring, we support, we do all sorts. So, but with regards to our theme, Unshakeable, women, what, and well-being, what does that mean to you?
Okay, I think when you say unshakable, when I looked at that topic, I laughed to myself, because I was wondering, really, can someone be really unshakable? Because the human, and even for Nigerians who are here, even the Eruokwu tree gets to a point where it will be shaking, right? And so when I looked at that topic and I said, okay, well, what does it mean to be unshakable, really? I think to a large extent, we're talking about we're talking about women by nature and nurturers, and they constantly give of themselves, even when it's not convenient. But some of the difficulties or challenges we find, like a lot of women are suffering. They're going through a lot of mental health challenges, and like living, and most of them are in very bad spots or spaces in their lives today, because they never knew, or they never learned how to draw the line or put boundaries or protect their space. So they just kept giving. And as I always say, you can't give what you don't have, and you can't pour out from an empty cup. And so, even though we want to be solid, strong, and unshakable, as most women aspire to be, strength actually doesn't come from, we're talking about physical strength, we're talking about being vulnerable, knowing when to stop, knowing when to walk away, knowing that there is a limit to everything. And so, for anyone to appreciate their worth and understand their well-being, it begins with them, because you want to be able to protect your time, protect your space, and protect your attention. Because again, if you don't, nobody will do for you. Because especially if you're unfortunate, I use the word unfortunate, if you're surrounded by people who just want to get and receive from you without even sharing and giving of you, and sometimes some women fall into that trap of saviors mentality or mindset. It's like, if nobody does, I think I have to do it. If you're not acting as a mom, you're acting as a sister, or you're acting as a friend, or it's just, if I don't do it, who else will do it? Well, the truth is, if you don't, someone else will do it, whether you like it or not. You're muted.
It's been a long time since I heard that word. You're muted.
Okay, I'm glad I'm the first to give it to you.
Oh my God. I thought I'd mastered all this technology thing. And thank you so very much. And thank you for, your thoughts around Unshakeable. Yes, we are shook. I mean, we're speaking, we shake, literally. But the idea behind this is we tend to be Eruokwu to everybody that we can do it, we can do it, we can do it. But we want to draw ourselves, we want to give ourselves space to breathe, to talk together, to reason together, so that we don't continue to be savior to the entire world and not save ourselves. May God help us all. So I want to move on to do you want to say anything?
No, I just said amen to that because we need it.
So I want to move on to self-leadership. It doesn't matter how we look at it. The world comes at us from different angles. There's a lot of pressure. So what daily habits, maybe 5 to 15 minutes that you do, what are those habits that has made the biggest difference for you to support your stability?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it's very important for us to protect our space, our time, and our attention. And in today's pressured world, where sometimes we're being woken up by our alarms, we set timers, we set alarm clocks, we have to wake up at this time to. I mean, sometimes I used to be in a spot where when I wake up, the first thing I do is pick up a phone. And then I want to say, okay, before I woke up, who said what and when and all of those things. And one of the things I noticed was that there's some messages you receive for someone and it ruins your entire day. And what I do now is when I wake up in the morning, I don't even go to my phones. As a rule, the first thing I want to do, my first minute is just to meditate. As a person of faith, I want to start my day with prayers so that I can set the tone and the day right for myself. And I kind of as a Christian, just offer it up to God and thanks for today and let's get the day started. And since I started doing that, I've noticed there's a difference in my stability as a human being, because again, you can't give what you don't have. If you wake up in the morning with so much chaos, the day is going to be bad, not just for you, but for everyone who has any interactions with you for that day. So if you're a leader in a place of work or anywhere, you don't want to be a leader who leads in a chaotic manner. You want to be that leader who is stable, who is there for their people, who has the stability and who is unshakable, like you said, to be able to withstand the pressures from their teams, from family and everyone around them. But if I don't do those things, I won't even have the strength or the stability to be able to face the day in a way that's meaningful and in a way that is productive for me. So for me, it's usually that time of reflection, gratitude, and sometimes I take a walk. I live on the 13th story building and I stay on the 13th floor. And so every day I make it a habit to walk the stairs, walk down and walk up, just so that I can help myself and my health, because I work from home and some days I don't get to see the sunlight except I open my windows. But sometimes I want to breathe fresh air. I don't want to sit down and start wondering what's going on with my life, So in addition to that, I take a walk.
Thank you so much. So what I'm hearing is before you do anything at all, you let your faith ground you.
Absolutely.
You start with that foundation, because you're right. Most people, the first thing they'll do is pick up the phone.
I used to be there.
Yeah, so I hope that we're all listening and everybody that will watch this later. We all believe in God, so whatever God you believe in, try and be grounded by your faith and exercise, because Ms. Eruokwu talked about faith and health right now. Those are the two things you talked about, and without those, really, what can we really offer anybody, right? So, and that can be done within 5-15 minutes. We have 24 hours, for crying out loud, in a day. Take some time to make yourself ready for whatever barrage of activities that's going to come your way. Thank you so very much for sharing that. So our next question relates to mental health. So that's really a good segue to the mental health identity and what question. What message would you give a woman who feels invisible, behind, or not enough right now? Maybe we should answer that before I layer it with something else.
Okay. We live in a world where a lot of women are going through a lot of things. And, I think I was discussing with a friend recently. I mean, say it's amazing how women, will be going through very trying times, challenging period, they get into their cars, they cry or get into the bathroom, cry, then clean up the face, that makeup, and then they come out smiling as if nothing happened. Women have incredible strength to mask their feelings, but sometimes it's important to just lay them bare as they are. And that's when they say, come in your most authentic self. And so for someone who is going through a very hard time now, who is feeling unseen, I think I want to say to that person who is feeling invisible, behind, or not enough, just like your journey is not meant to look like anyone else's. You are enough, and everyone has their own journey. And growth doesn't really happen in one day. For a lot of people, it's a process. And if you're not where you are today, it doesn't mean you're where you used to be. As long as you're intentional about your growth, about being authentic person, about being someone who does not live by societal standards, but building your own standards in a way that is reflective of who you are or the woman you want to be, and without allowing external forces or influence to dictate your pace or life for you. I saw someone a post today, someone said, when people ask you that at a certain age you're supposed to do this, you're like, who is that person marking that calendar for you? I mean, is it like WAEC or JAMB exam? Who says you must achieve all of this thing at a certain age and at a certain time? Who is that person? So sometimes, even when those barriers have not been imposed on us, people self-impose those barriers because they're mirroring their lives against other people's. And it's sad because we often tend to measure our weaknesses against other people's strength. It's always good to measure strength to strength if you really want to measure apples to apples. If you want to do real comparison, it will be best to do apples to apples. Do you have an education? Yes, I do, and I do as well. On the level of education, the level of intelligence, but not on the level of, there has these things that are outside of your control. I think, in a nutshell, we want to be able to focus on things that are within our control. And things outside of our control, we just let them be and take it one day at a time, as typical Canadian says.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that invincible word, what makes a woman feel invincible? Maybe, are we comparing ourselves? Right? So being the best version of ourselves, not comparing, just taking it a day at a time. It's super, super important. We're all very different. Miss Case, I see you again. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to see you. Thank you for all your support. Saying hello to Miss Joan Kids. She always shows up. She's been showing up since Sunday. Thank you very much. Yeah. So it is important for us to not to work with somebody else's calendar or whatever the calendar the world has put for us, because we're all different. That's why we're so uniquely made, right? Thank you for that. The other question also in that category is, what boundaries do you feel that we need to set with our time, our phone, and our energy, and anything else you think?
Thank you for that, because I think at the rate at which, in today's world, it's just like a constantly evolving pace. Like things are moving like with the speed of lightning. We just have to do this. We want to do this, complete tasks, complete things, even yesterday, and that puts a lot of pressure on us as parents, as, partners, spouses, friends, even employees, even businesses. But one thing I would say that's most empowering for anyone is that sometimes it's just okay to just pause, disconnect from all the noise, and then reconnect with only what truly matters, whatever that is for you. I've seen people who just call it detox. They drop their phones, drop everything, no phones, no emails. They're not on vacation. They said they pick a day, and sometimes for some people it's a weekend. and they just drop their phones, drop everything, and just connect with families, or sometimes connect with their friends, their besties, and say, today is just, this weekend is just for me and my gang, whatever that gang is to you, and just be human again. You know, it's hard to become human again since the advent of technology, because like even at dinner tables, people are still with their phones or out with friends, and people just cannot do with their technology anymore. I just want to share a story. So I remember I think it was last year. It was last year, no, 2024 December. So in 2024, I lost my youngest brother. And so it was a very trying period for me. And I struggled, and I couldn't, it was hard to cope with the loss because he had passed suddenly. And then because I had other issues, like, I was dealing with a lot of things, and I just didn't know how to manage or what to do. I was seeing the counselors at the same time, and then I decided I needed to take time away from everything and everyone. So when I told my family I was traveling to the US, alone, they were like, "Are you sure?" I said yes, that I needed to have closure. I needed to reconnect with a cousin and friend of ours who was also a childhood friend to my brother and I. And I took that trip. It was a 2-week trip to the US. Christmas usually is my birthday, and I spend that time with my family. But it was one Christmas I said I wasn't spending time with family. I just needed to go away, because I just needed to like disconnect with everything that was reminding me of the trauma, and then go into a new environment, and then so that I could come back and start the year on a good note. And so I did that, and I came back like when I came back a different person. And I came back with new philosophies to life, new principles. Like for the first time in a very long time, I was very well rested. I knew that I was a different person. And I used to be so caught up on a whole lot of things, like, oh, I have to do this now. But after that trip and having time to reflect, be by myself, that was when I actually started setting proper boundaries, because having benefited from that time away from my family, friends, and all of that, when I came back, I knew that for me to continue to contain and manage this energy and this newfound energy, and this new human being, I needed to set boundaries. And Rufina, my friend, is there, and she can tell you really, like when I came back, she was like, I don't know if I can cope with this Christine 2.0. I said, don't worry, you'll be fine. I said, don't worry, you'll be fine. Just take it one day at a time, Then I came back, and for the first time, things that used to bother me, like I used to be like, oh my gosh, I'm a big sister to my brother, I'm this to my daughters, and like I said, you know what? As we say in Nigeria, everyone will be okay last. You will just be fine. And it helped me. And so that's one way I learned to put those boundaries, and life has never been the same again since that time. So to anyone out there who feels like, and again, sometimes women, it's some discussion amongst women, we tell ourselves like, when you think that you want to carry the problem of the world on your head, the day something happens to that person and they're no longer, it's just 2 minutes of silence, and then everyone moves on.
More like 1 minute.
Oh, now it's 1 minute. Okay, I didn't know. I thought it was 2 minutes, right? So it's just 1 minute of silence, and it's all over. And then when you thought you were someone who thought they were indispensable, find that they're very, very, replaceable sometimes, especially in the places of work. And that's something I've learned. And now I value my life, I value my energy, and I value the real relationships, the people who make my life, worth living, because that experience helped me reassess those in my life. And then now I have heightened appreciation for them in my life. And now I nurture and cultivate that relationship. And every other person that it's all about noise and that gives me pressure, I just, like I use the word, like I tell my kids, just delete them from your contact list and just move on. And that's something that I do now. That's how personally I've learned to create those boundaries with my time, energy, and anything that's going to waste my time. I just don't get involved. I used to be one, like I was always everywhere. I would accept invitation to be at events. Now I say, I have an appointment. And Fina says with who? I said, I have an appointment with myself and I. And so I'm busy. It's on my calendar. And that's how I protect my space. And it's been working for me. I'm not afraid to say no.
Thank you so very much. You packed a lot of things in that answer. First of all, I want to start by saying, sincere apologies for the passing of your brother. May his soul rest in peace. I know that is tough. It is tough. And I'm speaking from experience. It's very tough. Thank you for being vulnerable, and thank you for sharing. You talked about, people tend to hold on to their phones all over the place. I remember two of our speakers, Bayede, actually said there's a time where the girls go out for lunch or dinner and they put their phones down, and whoever picks the phone first pays for everybody. That's a good punishment.
It is. I was like, the session I had, I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. And Miss Valerie also talked about during family dinner, they all put their phones down, no phone. We talk to ourselves as human beings. But there's something you said that, I feel a lot of women, we're not there yet. And I feel it's important for us to actually even dig a little deeper. Because what you did when you said, okay, I just need time off, it means you're self-aware. It's not every woman that would say, I just need me time. We go. And that is when burnout comes. So I need you to kind of peel back the onion a little bit. How did you know that it is, what makes you feel, okay, now I just need me time? How can people recognize when they get to that spot and say, okay, enough already?
Question. It's just as asking when you have a brand new car, right out from the dealership, you drive it home, you drive it, no sound, everything sounds okay. You don't hear any background. And 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you're not going for maintenance, no servicing, nothing. And you start hearing, you're driving, you're hearing sound, something is rattling somewhere in the back, something like, and then you start thinking, I think it needs servicing. That is what we do with our properties, right? Now, unfortunately, some people don't know when their engines are packing up, when the AC vent or the filter is beginning to rattle, And for me personally, one of the things, and for anyone who knows me, I'm a very vibrant, happy-go person. I get into a room, it's all smiles, like I'm connecting with everyone and things like that, because I don't even know how I get this energy, right? And when you assign any tasks to me, I make sure I accomplish them within specific timelines so I can move on to other things. And so when I got to that point where I don't even want to see anybody, I don't want to talk to anybody, even things I enjoyed, became like burden to me. I would go to networking events again. Christy, we go to a lot of networking events in St. John, trust me. And then every invitation, I was beginning to decline them. And then I was like, I'm busy, but I'll stay back home and do nothing productive. Then I knew there was a problem. I was suffering, right? I would go to work. Usually we have like team meetings, we would talk. Like I would go to work, I'll just sit at my desk. Even when I was not busy, I just pretended to be busy just so that I won't get to talk to anyone. So the only people I was talking to, again, of course, my boss. And if I had clients meeting, again, you know how women with dab our face, all smiles. And as soon as the meeting was over, I just shut down. So I was like, it just kept going on for weeks and then months. I'm like, okay, no, something is wrong. This is not me. And then even some friends and colleagues, like, you're becoming so edgy, you're becoming cranky. I'm like, yes, I know, but I don't know what to do about it. Like, what's your problem? In fact, even when they tried to refine out there, she got burnt several times, right? But that's a friend. And so when it got to that point, and I told myself, no, I can't continue to live like this. And I can't continue to even damage the relationships that I have with family and friends, because as someone who is not very, like, I don't have a lot of friends, just on my fingers, I can count my friends for you. And so for those people, our relationship becoming strained, even with my kids and all of that. And I was like, there's no way I can be useful or relevant to anyone around me in this state of mind. So that was when I knew that car I was carrying needed urgent servicing. In fact, it needed general overhaul because I had gone for counseling. I was seeing a counselor, it didn't work. And I told the counselor, you know what? I needed a break. I needed to do other things. And so two things I had scheduled for myself was travel to the US and then take a course. So every year I tell myself I need to take a course as a grad. I like to learn. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm big on education. And so every year I like to take a new training, a course or something. And so those are the two things I needed to do. So as soon as I got back from the US, give myself some time off, and then I enrolled in a program. It didn't help, but until I cleared my head before I got into that space where now I know what it is. So when people say mental health is real, it is real. And if you don't take care of your health, it will come for you in a way, like in the most unexpected ways. And sometimes the price could be consequential, especially if you don't stop it in its track, it will stop you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So you saw changes in your behaviors, your attitude, the relationship you value were becoming strained. So it's important for us to be able to identify these little, because they're little things that we overlook, right? So I mean, for everybody out there, we all may not have resources to travel, but maybe taking a weekend off, going for the spa, even going to make our nails, they take like 1.5 hours to do that. Just do something that will be you and you alone so that you can get yourself together, because, this is really what leads to mental health issues, burnout, and so on. So the next one actually adds more firewood to the fire, as I would say, or gasoline to the fire, since we don't use firewoods anymore. This is talking about digital pressure, social media, and our inner peace. How can women use digital platforms for impact without losing peace or authenticity?
Okay, I like how you frame the question, because digital media, or the digital space or social media is like a double-edged sword, right? It can be used as a tool for good. It could be used negatively. And as most people say, when the use of something is not understood, abuse becomes inevitable. So we're living in a time of rapid transformation, shaped by technology, innovation, and of course, global change. People are just connected to the world just with the device on their hand, and people want to get caught up. People want to get involved. People just want to do it all. The good thing about social media is it provides visibility. It provides a platform for people to share, to learn. At least we're online now. You're in Ontario, we're in Halifax, we have people from St. John, like all over Canada joining us. That's a good use of social media, because when we understand the use, it was, again, during COVID, when it came out, this one was to bring people together and make the world a truly global village. That's some of the benefits, and it continues to grow in that way, and it helps people develop a lot of skills. So with the advent of AI now, people are becoming more productive. Things that will take you 3 hours, 5 hours, 1 week, even a month, people are doing them in spaces between minutes and hours, and gaining back their time to do other things. So that's the beauty of technology and all of that. And some of the things that women struggle with sometimes is that fear of joining or becoming a part of it. Some people still see AI as a fluke or something that would go, like I say, sorry, you're really, like, you're mistaken, because AI is here to stay. It's just like when computers came in, people were like, oh no, we don't need that. It will be going very smooth. Where are we today with even kids in high school now use computers? So again, still the same way. And most people who deny the relevance of AI or try to be modest about it, like, oh, I don't use AI, it's not important. I think they should go revisit the history of BlackBerry, because if you fail to innovate with time, they would be kicked out of the market and they become irrelevant. And in today's world, nobody wants to be irrelevant, right? And so those are some of the benefits. And so for women to be in that space and be relevant and not be pressured to do. So let me give the example of social media. Most people are obsessed with how people respond or react to the post that they've put out there. So sometimes people, like sometimes I remember when let me use myself as an example. So as someone who has a business, I spent, before the advent of ChatGPT, AI, and the rest of it, even with advent of ChatGPT, I don't like the social media space because I don't like putting myself out there. So I struggle with it. And there are times I would, so like when I used to do this, like there are times I would put a post and like, after spending like 3-4 hours, I just have like 10 likes. God knows I'm not going back there again. And then sometimes you see influencers post, they just put a picture of themselves, just put tilt the head to the left and then smile. And you're seeing 8,000, you spend time preparing an educational content, hoping somebody will read, connect. People don't care about, if they want to read, they go to the library. They just want entertainment, TikTok, fast videos. So if you're not doing that, if you're not giving them what they want, and you don't have the skill set to be able to give them what they want, then there's no point feeling bad about it or trying to compare yourselves with other people. And that's why I love AI today, because now people are creating videos that would have cost them thousands to create with a media team, So those are some of the benefits. But again, to the downside, I don't know how many of you, follow the sad news which broke in BC on February 10th about the 18-year-old BC student who killed 8 people and wounded about 25 others before taking her life. Again, what caused it? She's been going through
transformation.
Yeah, one of those she was going through transformation, and then she was consuming ChatGPT and other things, consulting it as a resource, creating things and like working with it as a consultant, and then she kind of like caused so much havoc that people wouldn't have, it's unimaginable havoc, like a whole community is mourning, even how many weeks after. And so again, for women, beyond just managing ourselves, it has become even more difficult to manage our teenagers on social media, because they are even faster and more aware on social media and the digital platform, and even with technology more than we are. And so we need to find a way to work with them such that they don't cut us out, so we can help them as well, so that what happened in BC will not replicate itself in any other place in the world. Or no mother wants to be that person who's associated with a troubled kid in such, setting.
That incident was
It was unfortunate.
Because even the mom was killed, right?
The mom and the
little brother was killed. It's a horrible, horrible thing. And two things that I heard from you is, one, as women, we need to embrace technology.
Yes.
Embrace AI in a positive manner, leverage it positively, just like we're doing. Use it to learn, use it to understand the world more. A lot of people are saying that AI is going to take our jobs. No, AI is not going to take our job. It will take the job of people that do not know how to leverage AI to support their jobs, right? And also, you mentioned being there to support our children as much as we can. In our own culture, we always say that the village is what takes care of raises the kids. I don't know whether that's happening in Canada, but it's something that, because we can't do it alone. It doesn't matter how we look at it. I remember one of the famous actresses, because you said you post something that makes sense, and nobody will look at it, but somebody will just tilt their head, and then they have 1 million views. One of the actors well known in Nollywood, she said, I'm not that type of person that will go on social media and be dancing. If you're going to hire me, you're going to hire me because you know I have the skills to offer, not dancing, to each its own, right? Thank you, Barry. I talked about one social media influencer that has over 1 million followers, and she felt that social media following is the same thing as humanity. And she just decided, you know what, I want to gift my followers the presence of me. Come meet me. Anybody that lives in this area, come and meet me on this day. Let's talk together. This is somebody that has over 1 million followers. Not one person showed up.
Sad.
Not one person showed up, because that is not relationship. What does it really take to click like 1 second? Actually, less than 1 second. So I always tell people, I said, you can't live your life with the likes of everybody in the world. What if they dislike it? What are you going to do?
That's right.
Right? So it's very important for us to kind of know who we are and stay within that and surround ourselves with the right people or the right things. So thank you very, very much. So we've heard it. Let's get to know our digital platform very well. Let's leverage AI for our betterment and not lose our peace and authenticity. So what is one bold step women can take this year to reclaim agency over their future?
I know we've alluded to some of them in the course of our talk, but one thing I would say is like there's this quote. I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt who said, he said, every year, no, one day, no, she said, every day do something, do a difficult task, something impossible, And in today's world where we want to do more, like, I think it's best for women. It is just one thing anybody could do. I think it's what that thing would just be that women should just accept themselves for who they are, embrace change, and be ready to move with the momentum when it comes. Because the last thing anybody wants is to be knocked down by the storm, unprepared when it does come, because storms eventually come, but when you're not grounded, you won't be able to withstand what's coming ahead. And so it's best to just be equipped and be ready for whatever change comes ahead. But I think that would be mine, because in a very rapidly changing world today, it's hard. What was relevant yesterday, in fact, what was relevant an hour ago, not even relevant in the next 2-3 hours, because even in the tech world, as someone mentioned yesterday or 2 days ago, or 2 nights ago, like what was relevant, even I think it was one of the guys who said in the IT space that what was relevant, like now they fix bugs like within hours and days. What used to be like this a month, Yes. And so in today's world too, we know that change will always come because it's the only constant thing, but the only way to move with the speed of lightning and change is just to continue to be relevant is to be grounded and, be resourceful and be prepared.
Thank you. And you alluded to some of the ways that we can be grounded. What are the things that you do early in the morning when you wake up? What are the boundaries you set around yourself? How are you learning to stay ahead of the curve? You mentioned BlackBerry. Oh my goodness, I loved BlackBerry so much. And it broke my heart that they refused to evolve, they refused to pivot when there was a need to change. So all those little things that we do are the things that will help us, whether it is to create a foundation for ourselves or to make sure that we do not burn out and we're the best version of ourselves. One of the sessions I talked about the fact that women carry an invisible backpack. And that didn't come from me. It came from one of my senior leaders in the bank. She talked about the fact that, when you walk into a room at times, it seems like all eyes are on you. when you're doing something, it seems like you don't know how to do it. We're always very, very critical of ourselves. Not even, let's leave maybe our skills and experience or whatever. Let's leave it on the side. What are some things that you feel as women we can do to lay down that backpack and just breathe? I know we've talked about it. I just want us, just maybe itemize, because I want a situation where women can go away with certain things and say, okay, I can relate to that. I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right when you say women carry invisible backpack, and sometimes there are things that we've chosen to carry on ourselves because of mentality or mindset of that. Again, I mentioned that savior mentality and hero mentality, whatever we choose to call it, because like if I don't do it, no one else will do it, and all of that. And so the danger to that is some of these women don't even know how to ask for help, because they think asking for help is it's like diminishing their value as humans. I know people who cannot, and some of them are on the spot, some who do not even know how to borrow, even when they're in financial difficulties. Like, if you don't know, come and I will teach you how to, because if I don't have the money and I have something and I have a means to pay back, by all means, I will be able to do that. So the thing is just having a clear plan. Like, what do I need to do to get to this point? And for most women, they've been groomed to know, again, especially if you're the first girl in most families, like I'm one, they call them the Adas. Exactly. So the Adas bear a lot of weight, even the ones imposed by their parents, the societies, and then they added to that the one they've imposed on themselves. Like, oh, I'm the Ada, I have to do this. Like, no, as someone say, nobody comes first, or there's no prize for the person who carries the most load, or the most burden. There's no prize, there's no award. If there was, some people would have taken them a long time ago. And so women need to be more aware that those invisible parts are oftentimes self-imposed, and some of them could be let down or kind of like be discarded the minute they understand that they need to start setting boundaries. They need to start setting clear expectations for their families. Your parents want you to send, say, maybe $1,000 every month back home because they sold the land to send you abroad and all of that. Tell them, hey, Papa, Mama, I love you, but I cannot do that because in Canada, I've got bills to pay. And this is not visible, and this is what I can do. And set that expectation. Some people don't know how to say no to their parents because, like, oh my God, they raised me, I owe my life to them. Like, I don't believe that. Like, yeah, they raised you, but they're not your God, right? Because again, God has life. At the end of, and again, because of accorded this power of, those are some of those self-imposed burden that we put on ourselves. Because I see my parents this way, or I see my spouse or my kids, I can never say no to my kids. I have to find a way to do it. It's in finding that way to do it that women get into, find themselves in circumstances or situations where sometimes some are not lucky to come out of it alive, And so the first step, people should learn to just ask for help and be kind to themselves. A lot of people are kind to others, but they're not kind to themselves. They dish out to everyone else. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do this, for that. But they forget themselves. Again, I used to be in that. I remember many years ago, I think when I had my second child or so, that my mom had visited, and I had gone shopping with my mom, and I was picking things. I picked something for my daughters, I picked something for my husband, I picked something for my mom. I'm like, oh, what done? My mom just stopped and said, are we forgetting something? I said, no, I'm done. She said, no, you didn't buy anything for yourself. I'm like, oh, it's okay, I don't need it. She was like, that's stupidity. Buy something or we're not going home, And that taught me something. And she taught me that no matter, and that was my mom, right? And this was me playing mom in front of my mom. And she said, no, that's foolishness. If you buy anything for any member of your family, especially for my family, you have to buy something for yourself. And that changed it for me. So now when I'm buying things, even till date, like I now, even some Christmas, like I'm buying myself a gift because my mom said it was foolishness not to buy something for myself because I was putting my family before me, right? And so that's an example of how people can get those back. And then sometimes people think that it's not okay to talk to people. If you have the right person with the right listening ears, right, it's okay to, as they say, a problem shared is a problem half solved. if you have a confidence, not every time you want to talk to a counselor, if you don't have there must be one trusted person in your life. They may not even have all the answers, but sometimes just speak it out loud, kind of like eases the burden. Even if they just say it's okay, don't worry, it's gonna be fine, right? It goes a long way. Just hearing someone tell you it's gonna be fine is good enough than someone not even validating your feeling. Because sometimes what some women are just looking for is like, oh my gosh, you've gone through a lot. I think you deserve this, you deserve the rest, you deserve this. Sometimes they just need people to tell them that, because the people around them are those who just keep grabbing from them and not even reciprocating with words of appreciation. And that can be very painful and detrimental to their well-being.
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You also talk about the being able to say no and not saying yes to everything. And I just want to put a caveat out here. The talk we're having is not for women to stop being who they are, because it really doesn't matter. We can't stop being the nurturer that we are. We're just saying, let there be a balance. Don't continue to pour from an empty vessel. Know your capacity. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. Remember yourself. You buy everything for the whole world and forget about yourself. So it's all about creating balance so that we can be able to do more. One of the things that people told me, especially working in corporate Canada, when they say go on vacation, people do not like to go on vacation. Thank God that they forced the vacation on them. People would have requested money for the vacation, because corporations know the importance of taking time off to recuperate, to rejuvenate, to recharge and come back rested, ready to take on. And basically that's what we're telling women to do. Don't just keep going until you break down. When you break down, sorry, you're just going to be on your own. So let's be mindful and love ourselves. So one final question for you before we open it up for Q&A. Any word of encouragement for women in general, and maybe your younger self?
Okay. I would say this to every woman out there, and to my daughter Sophie, who's on this call, and my younger self. I said, this is like, your voice matters, your leadership matters, your presence matters. The world does not need you to shrink to fit expectations. It needs you to rise into your full potential and to lift others along the way. And to my younger self, be patient with your journey. Trust the process of growth. And remember that every act of support you give to another woman contributes to something bigger. Because when women give, we all gain.
Wow, that was powerful. And I love the part that you said, when women support women, right? Let's support ourselves. We can definitely do better than what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And we can learn, from ourselves. We can, celebrate
Absolutely.
ourselves.
Little
right?
wins.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. So I'm going to open it up. Do we have anyone that would like to comment, question, maybe, anything? Please feel free to unmute. And if you want us to see your face, absolutely.
Questions?
Or questions, yes. Yes, Madam Daniel, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So while you were talking about the time you took out for yourself to kind of go and declutter and all of that, it reminded me of a time that I felt so crowded in my mind. I'm a hoarder, shamefully so.
Confession time.
I tie meaning to everything that I have. So if someone gives me a gift, even the wrap of that gift, it's so hard for me to dispose. So, but a lot of times it kind of can be too much, right? I get overwhelmed because I now have too many things. I don't know where to start from, So for a while, what now happened is that someone invited me to a sound therapy.
Mm.
And that sound therapy helped me to kind of release that too much noise that I had. I got home, even the way I was folding my clothes, my husband was like, who is this person? I took my time. So that there's a lot of noise that we have inside of us. And that's part of what can also cause like mental health, dealing with stress and all of that. So there are lots of therapy sessions. It's not just only talking to someone. There are, some people is yoga that does it for them. Some people is exercises when they go for walks. I find it very hard to do breathing exercise. But when I went for that sound therapy, just you lie down, they hit the sound, and then they just guide you through it. I just, just say, yeah, you hear people even snoring. They just fall asleep. So there are lots of things out there for us to explore that will help us really kind of take care of all of those mental noise that we have around us.
That's wonderful. Thanks for sharing, Jane. Yeah, I think it's good to know, like Mrs. Atiba said, sometimes you don't have the funds to travel out because, for obvious reasons, but having those other options by far actually like more rejuvenating and something close home because you can easily go back and forth and you're still in your space. So thanks for sharing. Share that.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other comments or questions, additions, subtractions? Yes, Sophie, please go ahead.
This is less of a question, but more of just evening, Mom. Nice to hear you talk. Nice to hear you talk and hear things from a perspective that was not as a daughter, because you can't blame me, but I usually see you as a mom. But hearing your experiences as like a human being, I think that's really, really new for me. And especially the eldest daughter thing, being your eldest daughter, I can tell that you notice those traits in me that I carry a lot of this extra stress in terms of like my career, studies, and my sisters too. But I wanted to thank you for being so open about it, and it just kind of helps me relate more with you. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophia. I really love the fact that you could join this call and you could actually share this again. We're first daughters and we know those stress. I know sometimes when I tell you at home that first daughters have those pressures, even when I don't want to as a parent, society finds a way to put it on you somehow. So, but I'm glad that that you're not alone in that journey. It's not something, it's just me thing. As you heard Mrs. Atiba say as well, like first daughters is a thing amongst Africans, especially. And so
just so you know, yes, I know it's International Women's Day, but it's the same thing with for sons, right? It's like the weight of the world is just on their shoulder. I don't know whether it's just me, but my immediate younger sister, she was taller. She was, I'm saying this now, she's no more too. I told you, I'm talking from experience, but I'm saying it because she's no more. If she was alive, I'll tell her more beautiful, but she was more beautiful. So there's just something about, first, even first boys, it's just, we just need to, nobody cares. Don't carry the weight of the world. You're just going to kill yourself, right? So thank you so much, Sophie, for contributing to this conversation. Truly appreciate it.
No worries.
And sorry about your sister. I know it's been a while, but again, a loss is a loss.
Oh, believe you me, it's not been a while enough. They always say that time time heals. I don't understand. I'm still waiting for that time.
The time
But
doesn't heal all.
yeah, but you know, it is what it is. Life goes on. So I don't know. Do we have any other comments, any questions or additions? Okay, maybe I should call your bestie. Why is she not talking?
I don't know if she's still on the call. Yeah, she's still here.
Oh,
Maybe
okay,
she's
so Miss Bestie, can you please say something?
my HR specialist. I see O'Neill is on the call, our friend. I see Mike is here. Kazi. And Yetunde, yeah.
Okay, do we have anybody else that would like to say a word before we call it a day?
I've been trying to say something since. I don't know. For some reason, my device is just giving me problems. So I know she's called my name a lot. I don't know why, but it's okay. But I have a few things to say, right? And I want to come from the women carrying invisible load, because I think that was a topic I had to speak about last year, I think International Women's Day. So for me, I would say some of us walk into rooms carrying things no one can see, like expectation, pressures, responsibilities that, were quietly placed on our shoulders. For a long time, I carried it all, trying to be everything for everyone, thinking strength meant never putting anything down. But I've learned something to free myself, and that is not everything placed on me belongs to me. So I started decluttering. I choose self-care without guilt. And if anyone that knows me knows that I love self-care, I take out time to do my own thing. There are times I don't pick her. Even Christine knows that there are times she can't even call me because I'm not going to pick. I set boundaries without apology. I stopped carrying what was never mine to hold. But I still show up, just lighter, clearer, and more whole. So for me, to every woman carrying more than she lets on, you are allowed to put some of it down. Pause, relax, take a chill pill, and just enjoy yourself. And if anybody wants to contribute to my vacation, please just send me money so I can go and do more enjoyment.
Thank you so much. What I hear, I'm just gonna take something very, deep. I'm gonna make it very light. What I heard you say is be calming down.
Yes, so
And
calm down.
enjoy.
Spend time with Oga.
And enjoy.
I love those phrases. Be calming down. Are you sure whining me? Are you whining me?
Exactly. Yes, so calm down your spirits, because sometimes some people, you need to ask them, please, what's the color of your problem? Leave me alone.
That's another one. What's the color of your problem? Yeah, it's so important for us to be able to be ourselves, our authentic self. Let's go of those unnecessary load that we carry. There's no price for it, like you said. No price for it. Thank you very much. Do we have anybody else? Yes.
I just want to say something. Like, I love what Rufina said about, like, not all of them belong to you, as in, like, not all the load belong to you. And that's where we just need to we need to have that discernment to pick and choose what we want to carry and what we just want to let go for someone else or for another day or another season, as opposed to carrying all the load in one season. That's where we have as humans. And she's speaking again as a first daughter, so she understands that load as well. And beyond that, she's queen of self-care. She does not do self-care. And that's something like I've been trying to emulate, but I just cannot. I do my own self-care in my own way, but I admire her like unconditional and total commitment to self-care.
One life.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so very much. What's yours? Don't carry what doesn't belong to you. You know, you actually alluded to it also, Christine, when you said, I lost my thoughts, but you said we want to do everything, right? And we can't do everything.
And
So if we don't do it, who's gonna do it? Somebody, you said somebody else will do it.
somebody's going to do it.
And that's the truth. So it's very important for us to know our capacity and work within it. Thank you so much for the contribution. Anyone else? Our men, our allies, do we still have them here? Want to add anything to the conversation?
If I may just add one more thing, sometimes I think because of the way we are also wired, that's why most of these things happen to us, because a lot of us were taught to, shrink ourselves, right? We didn't know that it was okay for us to even push back was an issue for us. You can push back, you can speak up, you can't even sit at the table, you can share your thoughts, you can ask questions. So some people have been built in that way. So it's always very, very hard for them to say, okay, this is what I want. I can own my voice. I can express myself, So I just tell people you can say to yourself that this expectation is not mine. This fear doesn't define me. I choose what I carry. So, just speaking positive words to yourself, go to the mirror and say these things and just talk about them. And I know someone just mentioned that it's not just about seeing a counselor. Sometimes you can talk to somebody. You can talk to someone you really trust. You can even talk to yourself. Like I was sharing to somebody's, some group of women on Sunday, saying to them that sometimes you can give wanting a chair to come back to yourself, because a lot of things you would say, oh, I would love to do these things, but I cannot. Not like you cannot, but wanting to do that thing is now an issue. So sit yourself down, bring a chair and sit down, talk to yourself. I love when you ask her a version of herself, something about the version of herself, talking to that. So you can actually bring that version of yourself out, sit with it, talk to it, have a conversation. And I do this to myself so that when I go outside and people insult me, I'll say, that's okay, I've already insulted myself, so waiting remain, So it doesn't really bother me. I do what I have to do. So ask yourself those questions, Is it actually my responsibility? Does this opinion define me? So all those kind of things. Talk to that person, talk to your inner self, and you'll be fine. It's not easy, but we'll be fine. But don't just carry unnecessary load, and don't think it's just you that must do everything. No. Learn to push back. If you cannot, that's why I like Canada. I say, oh no. They say something about it's not my pay grade or something like that, because
It's
they don't
above my pay grade.
My pay grade.
It's above my
It's
pay grade.
above my pay grade.
Yeah. But these are
Yes.
things we cannot say back home, right? But here you're free to say all those things. You're free to say, oh, no, I cannot take this again, and you walk away. I'll just say, so I can say this thing. Okay, so let's say it, So we just have to learn those things, just pause, relax, and we'll be fine.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you
insights.
Yes, absolutely. So do we have anybody else before we have the final words?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hi, Christine. I heard you mentioned my name the other time.
Yes,
Ruth Mama.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
MC extraordinaire.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Wonderful session, insightful session. I must say that it's been, I think I joined the first one. Somehow I think I was working about this time yesterday, so I couldn't join yesterday's one. But it's been a good one. So I mean, for me, I understand everybody has spoken from different perspectives and we're all correct. I like that fact of, drop it if it's not yours, move on. You don't have to carry the world's load. But on the flip side, which I agree with, but on the flip side as well, is that there's some gratification that comes from you giving up yourself even when you're going through so much. What I also find is, and this ties into this give to gain, because I've been, okay, what's this give to gain? What does it mean for me as a woman? And what I say is, I'm not in a perfect state. Things are not, and this is what I say to my friends as well, or sometimes my acquaintances, that nobody has promised us that everything is going to be perfect at any point in time. So if you're waiting till that time when things are perfect for you before you're going to be able to give of yourself, then you're missing a great opportunity to just be who you are. Um, for me, it's therapeutic, regardless what it is that I'm going through, however it is that I can reach out and lend myself to somebody, that works for me. Again, maybe because, I mean, contrary to most here who've said their first child, firstborns, I am the youngest of 12 children. And I would say that I have received a lot in terms of support from my older ones, to the point that the year I turned 40, which was 10 years ago, I was like, okay, so by my 50th birthday, what I would like, so at my 40th birthday was a lot of, yeti this, yeti that, a lot of love that I received. And I think at that point, I made up my mind, or I said to myself, and I remind myself of this thing, that I think I've received a lot of love, you know. It's time for me to give of my own self. And I'm very deliberate about it, whether it's in, and it's not in the, I'm not, not like I have so much, but just in the little way, any little way that I can give, whether it's of substance or it's time, I just take that advantage. And I find it very, very therapeutic. Even in this Canadian journey, it's been very good for me. I reach out to my neighbors, or I live in an area in Moncton where there's a lot of us Nigerians who've just moved to Canada. And at the times that it's most inconvenient, that I'm also going through a lot, I find that every time I reach out and I say, is there any way that I can help? Is there anything that I can do? Somehow help finds me as well. And I'm just going to encourage us, let's not stop reaching out to supporting one another. This Nobody has promised that the journey is going to be perfect, or its life is going to be so smooth at some point that you wouldn't have stress again. But in that, my whole stress, I still try to look after people's stress. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Send me your father, Tosh.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You're right. Nobody told me the road will be easy.
Nope.
Right?
Nobody did.
So, and whether we like it or not, Anada will do it in a different way, and a last born will do it in a different way. But what matters is we're all supporting ourselves. And the reason why I think I mentioned it before, that the reason why we're having this conversation is because we tend to give a lot. Women tend to give a lot. Can we balance it? Can we take care of ourselves too? Can we not neglect ourselves? Can we love ourselves too? But even while we're saying it, women, in the first session we talked about women wearing masks. When we go to work, we wear that mask of corporate. When we get home, we wear masks of mother. When we get to our family, if you're the last born or the middle born or the first born, whatever, you wear that mask again. In the community, you wear another mask. So it's always mask on, mask off. But when we do the mask on, mask off, it's important for us not to forget who we are. Take care of us too, so that we're not giving from an empty vessel, so we don't burn out. That's the whole idea. We truly appreciate your contribution. As we round up, Miss Christine Eruokwu, is there any final word of encouragement that you like to give? Oh, let's take care of me. Absolutely. Let's take care of me. Thank you, Mr. Jolly. Mr. Eruokwu, any final words before we call it a day?
Before I say the final one, I just wanted to comment to what Yetunde said, and I really love the perspective from which she came in. You know, again, being the last born, not every last born knows how to give. Most last borns have entitlement mentality, like they're used to just receiving. So very few, you know, like Yetunde, get to a point where they're becoming intentional. And I like the fact that she put it that way, because in the work that we do in the nonprofit, one of the ways that we give back is through volunteering. Like, I've seen people, you know, literally be healed of their depressive states just by giving of themselves and giving of their time, just by showing up and helping people who they feel like are, you know, in worse conditions than they are. You know, they just go into that. They go into that space and come out with different. But in fact, I see people who are like complain about every situation. As soon as they encounter someone in a worse situation, they come back with a spirit of gratitude, and that's where helping, like Yetunde said, becomes helpful and becomes therapeutic for people in that state of mind. And so the other thing I wanted to say, Mawan, is when it comes to giving, beyond being the other and all of that, one of the things I do, for those who do not know that, first, like, I just put this link here in the group chat. So I support, when I say I support education of girls in West Africa, it's something that is so dear to my heart. And most of these girls, I don't even know them. Because my mom was a child bride, I was very angry for a very long time when I grew up, knowing that she couldn't help me with my homework, she couldn't study with me and all of that, because she didn't complete her primary education because she was just shipped off to her husband's house, you know, my father then. And when I grew up, I'm like, why didn't anybody do anything about it? Like, wasn't there somebody in the community, maybe an elder or somebody who'd say, okay, no, I'm going to take care of my education, just so that, again, this was like in the village how many years ago. So as a person who does not, as a principal, I don't complain about something I can't change. So, and I said, if no one did it for my mom, I will do it for other girls who are in my mom's situation at that time. And so, and that's one of the reasons I started my brand, Kaima Design. It's not, the Kaima Design is not a brand, and that's the social enterprise piece of it. It is not a brand that makes profit. It's just created to support education of girls. So for every item sold, a girl gets a school uniform. And we've been able to get some sponsors, you know, to support with tuition of girls. Some of these girls have graduated from school. Some of them graduated from school. Some of them are now in the university. These are girls that would never have had. And so that is really gratifying. I don't even know them, no family connections, nothing. But knowing that those women will turn out like my mom, not being able to be, you know, like the quote I started off with, you know, like this young, like when you educate a woman, you educate generation. My mom didn't even complete her education until after I had my youngest daughter in 2010. And that's when she went to complete her primary education. And so she's been this very strong woman for me. And her legacy is something that I just continue through the business, and it's so dear to me. But I understand that it's something that it's important to me. But at some point, I learned how to draw the line, because it was beginning to take a lot out of me and beginning to affect my personal life. And I told myself, well, I could do other things and still contribute towards this, and then and that's where the help thing comes in. Reach out to other women to help me to do, so that it becomes like collective work. And that's how we've continued to do that. So I just wanted to mention that before we come to the close of this session. And then on the final note for me, I'm always a firm believer of, you are responsible for what happens to you, good or bad, because you have the power in your hands to change whatever you don't like, except if it's out of your control. But even at that, you know, and so women, it's our responsibility to take care of ourselves, love yourself, be kind, take care of yourself, because if you don't, no one else would. And happy International Women's Day week.
Thank you so very much. So I just want to read the comment that Mr. Jolly put here. Decluttering doesn't mean abandoning responsibilities. It means releasing what was never yours. And I feel that's a good way to wrap up. So on behalf of Council of African Professionals, we want to say a huge thank you to you, Ms. Christina Eruokwu. Thank you so much for
Thank you
sharing
for
your
having me.
insights. We really, truly appreciate it. There were a lot that you shared. And just so we know, this is recorded. We're going to be uploading all this on YouTube in the next week or so. So we can always go back to it and listen and share with friends and families. To everybody that joined, we are truly, truly grateful. To everybody that participated, thank you for your comments. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I mean, when women support women, we build nations. So let's continue to support ourselves. Let's continue to encourage ourselves. And let's not forget to be kind to ourselves and to love ourselves. This continues tomorrow, Thursday, and we'll have another session on Friday and Saturday. We all know every day really should be International Women's Day, but we're going to take it a piece at a time. We're doing 1 week now. Maybe next year is going to be 365 days. Every day
Good
we
luck
have
with that.
somebody talking. I know. Every day we have somebody talking. It could be a podcast. It doesn't have to be, like this. That's why we need to pivot, right? We don't want to be like BlackBerry and disappear with time. But thank you all. And I wish that you have a fantastic rest of the evening. Thank you all for joining us. Have a fantastic day and rest of the week.
Thank
Hasta la
you.
vista.
Good
Thank
night.
you,
And thanks
ladies.
everyone
Thank
for
you.
joining.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Manage. Stop.